Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the anthems. First, the national anthem of the United Kingdom. And now, the Interpol anthem. Please remain standing for 1 minute of silence in memory of police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Please be seated. Good morning and welcome to the opening ceremony of the 92nd Interpol General Assembly. To begin today's proceedings, I'd now like to invite Major General Dr. Ahmed Naser Al-Raisi, President of Interpol, for his opening address.
The Right Honourable Yvette Cooper, Secretary of State for the Home Department, Your Excellency Graham Beaver, Director General of the NCA, Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers and Chief of Police, Head of Delegations, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 92nd Interpol General Assembly here in Glasgow, in Bonnie, Scotland. I would like to extend my gratitude to our host country for organizing the significant event. The UK's commitment to international cooperation and its unmatched law enforcement capabilities have been invaluable in our collective efforts to combat transnational crime. Before we begin, I would like to take this moment to thank the Executive Committee, Vice Presidents, and delegates for their leadership and commitment to policing excellence, neutrality, respect, integrity, and teamwork. Over the past 3 years, the Executive Committee engaged in constructive, productive discussions across key areas central to the organization's mission. Our key focus has been to support the Interpol vision and mission and strategy, and to guide and support the Secretary General. I would also like to thank the Secretary General, Jürgen Stock, for his service to Interpol. Over the past decade, Secretary General Stock has led to our organization with dedication and commitment to excellence. His time in office has brought major progress in international police cooperation and a strong commitment to improving global security. Dear Secretary General, we are grateful for your contributions and years of dedicated service. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Valdício Urquiza from Brazil, who has been proposed by Interpol's Executive Committee as a candidate to the next Secretary General of Interpol. Should his candidacy be endorsed by the General Assembly, Mr. Urquiza would become the first Secretary General from Latin America in our organization's history. Mr. Urquiza represents the future of Interpol, a diverse, tech-forward organization committed working with its 196 member countries to ensure a safer world for all. His leadership will be key to foster an inclusive environment where voices from all regions are heard. Mr. Urquiza, we are pleased to have you by our side today. Excellencies, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, it's essential to reflect on the year we have had. Last year's General Assembly marked the centenary of Interpol. It was a milestone that underscored our commitment to global policing. The centenary celebration were not just commemoration of our past achievements, but also a confirmation of our dedication to evolving and updating and adapting the changes of modern-day policing. During the last General Assembly, we took significant steps to shape the future of the organization. We approved the draft resolution regarding the Interpol's Vision 2030, ensuring that we are prepared to tackle the constantly changing faces of crime, and modernizing our data processing to strengthen our internal system and help us to support member countries more effectively. We also approved resolutions to enhance our operational and strategic partnership with member countries and partner agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, the criminal landscape continues to evolve, and we must stay ahead of it. From the rise of organized crime, drug trafficking and terrorism, to climate change and migration challenges, our ability to adapt and innovate is crucial. This year's General Assembly presents an opportunity to member countries to engage in fruitful conversation, share intelligence, and enhance collaborative strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Committee sets principles and measures to achieve the organization's goals, review and approve the annual activities and financial policy, and provides guidance between Assembly sessions. Cross-border collaboration is one of the pillars of our efforts, and it's the only through working together that we can effectively combat transnational crime. If Interpol is the global body of the international policing, the member countries are the heartbeat, and the Executive Committee is the brain. I want to emphasize that the important role of the Executive Committee in the organization's governance as the decision-making supervisory body with representatives from Interpol's regions. The Executive Committee works all year round to implement the Interpol strategy that benefits you. I want also to highlight the Executive Committees represented you, and they are the supreme body of Interpol, who represented by the professionals you have chosen to ensure accountability and transparency within the organization, oversees the implementation of the initiatives and programs, and advocate for the interests and needs of each and every one of our 196 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, you have and continue to support the Executive Committee and the General Assembly in some of the working groups that help facilitate their mandate. We are thankful for your support. Today, we bid a farewell to 9 members of the Executive Committee who were chosen by you. I assure you that you have chosen people who best represent you and your region, and may hope that you're going to choose always the best to serve you and the organization. Thanks to the support of the Executive Committee, the General Secretariat, and the various teams involved. Ladies and gentlemen, Interpol continues to evolve and reinvent itself to remain relevant and efficient across time and geographies. We share our vision for a safer world with organizations like AmeriPol, AfriPol, AMAC, Europol, Frontex, and the United Nations. By collaborating and sharing information, we can continue to create a more effective approach to combating crime. These partnerships allow us to combine strength and resources, enabling us to make the world a safer place for all. Since my election, I have worked with my Interpol peers to develop and deploy and enhance solutions to better support law enforcement personnel around the world. Under the Executive Committee's directions, we have greatly improved our digital infrastructure to boost our global security operation, enabling real-time information sharing and collaboration. Our secure global police communication system, including the Interpol Metaverse and other tools like the EVA, Interpol's artificial intelligence tool, are available to support operations and capacity buildings. This year, we have also deployed our Interpol mobile device in several countries. This helps us to enhance our ability to share intelligence swiftly and securely. Ladies and gentlemen, data is the core of what we do. It is the information that we share via our 19 database that enables Interpol to support countries around the world, regardless of their size. We are closing this quarter with 1.5 million hits against the databases, a significant 32% increase compared to the same time period in 2023. Database searches increased by 8%, bringing our records to 151 million. I urge you all, member countries, to continue using these databases to support their operations and to keep updating them to strengthen the intelligence efforts of your peers worldwide. Now, is it possible to create a truly effective Interpol without embracing diversity and inclusion? How can we future-proof our organization without fully reflecting the diversity of our global membership? This question drives our commitment to inclusion and representation. With the support of the Executive Committee, we have worked tirelessly to prioritize diversity and inclusion. Our experience has shown that our commitment paying off. No more than ever, it's crucial to foster a more inclusive and effective Interpol to not only future-proof the organization, but also to create a safer world. Since my election, I promised during my campaign, Interpol has prioritized diversity and inclusion, reflecting its global membership of 196 countries. Financial assistance for secondment has been implemented to support officers from underrepresented countries. Today, I am proud to say that diversity at our headquarters has grown from 108 nationalities in 2021 to 134 in 2024, with a more balanced distribution of managerial positions globally. Additionally, the Executive Committee approved Interpol's Excellence Award to acknowledge and promote your achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight a few of our collective achievements from the past year. In 2024, Interpol made a significant progress in our operations. Over the past 3 years, Interpol has carried out 208 global police operations. Just last year, operation led to the arrest of 18,000 suspects, the seizure of 244 tons of drugs with $5.8 billion and more than 10,000 illegal weapons, and illegal medical equipment worth over $560 million. Operations also led to the dismantling of 20 organized crime groups that recovered over $406 million from all of their activities, and almost 7,000 bank accounts and 52 crypto wallets frozen from just one operation. Of course, none of these achievements would have been possible without you. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the brave women and men in this room and across the world who have dedicated their lives to protecting civilians. We are thankful for you and for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, Interpol here to serve all of its member countries. We are here to support everyone. No country is too big or too small. No country is rich or too poor. We are all equal. We are here for everyone and for you. Thank you, merci, gracias, and shukran.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy watching this short video showcasing law enforcement here in the United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Secretary of State for the Home Department, the Right Honourable Yvette Cooper MP, to deliver their opening address.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President, for your opening words. It is an enormous privilege and honour to welcome all of you here for the 92nd Interpol General Assembly. And it is a pleasure to welcome you to the magnificent and historic city of Glasgow. And let me thank our hosts for all of the work that has gone into facilitating this hugely important event. Can I thank, too, the Interpol Secretary-General, Jürgen Stock, for your years of service leading this organisation's vital work, and we look forward to congratulating your successor tomorrow and for the future work that all of us need to do together. At a time when networks of organised and serious crime span the world, it matters more than ever to have equally integrated and global networks of law enforcement agencies working together to fight crime and to keep our communities safe. The UK is proud to be at the heart of those efforts. Every year, our Interpol Bureau in the National Crime Agency sends out 20,000 requests to partners around the world. And every day, they manage more than 1,000 incoming messages. And we see the impact of that cooperation here on our streets, here on the streets here in Glasgow. Just 4 weeks ago, one of Britain's most wanted men was jailed for leading a major drug gang responsible for importing tons of cocaine into this city in banana boxes from Ecuador, fueling addiction and gang violence across Scotland. Thanks to a joint operation between Police Scotland and Dutch counterparts, the UK National Crime Agency, he was arrested in the Netherlands, extradited back to Scotland, and sentenced to 20 years in prison in Glasgow High Court. International cooperation, work with Interpol, delivering results in real life. So to all those working with colleagues on similar operations in pursuit of our collective security, I want to say a heartfelt thank you. Over the past century, the success of Interpol has been a testament to the critical importance of its mission, to the skill and professionalism of its members, and to the spirit of innovation that has evolved through decades of political, technological, and social change. But most importantly of all, Interpol's success has been evidence of that enduring belief that together we are stronger. Britain's new government is committed to that principle, and from fraud to drug trafficking, we believe there are so many crimes and criminal networks which can only be tackled effectively through strong international policing cooperation. And let me highlight just two areas where we want to see even stronger cooperation in the years to come. First, in tackling the global scourge of violence against women and girls and child sexual abuse, the scale of which should continue to shame us all. Britain's new government has set a mission to halve violence against women and girls in a decade, but we know that cannot be achieved by working alone. Perpetrators and predators across the world are being enabled and emboldened by new technologies, the use of which is growing at an alarming rate. The scale, complexity, and severity of online abuse is increasing in every jurisdiction, and tackling these tech-enabled harms is a central priority for the UK, and I am very glad it will be one of the topics for discussion here this week. We will only tackle these new threats through increased cooperation and by committing to share not only the best intelligence but the best innovations to protect our children from harm. And second, as you will hear shortly from our UK Prime Minister, we must also have a much stronger and more integrated global response to the organised immigration crime which is growing around the world and profiting from human misery, putting lives at risk, undermining border security and destabilising communities. Here in the UK, our new Border Security Command is leading the fight against the criminal gangs who every week are crowding vulnerable people into flimsy dinghies on the coast of France, leaving dozens this year to drown or be crushed to death as they attempt to cross the Channel. But we know those gangs operate not just on our shores, but all across Europe and beyond, a network of exploitation stretching around the globe. So we are drawing up new agreements with our neighbours to strengthen law enforcement, disrupt supply chains, break the business models of the gangs, and to bring offenders to justice. Because we know that the best way to strengthen UK border security is to work in partnership with other countries, tackling the shared threats we all face and preventing the growth of this transnational organised crime. On this issue and on so many others, the challenges we face may vary from nation to nation, but the dangers are becoming ever more interlinked. The lines between different threats are increasingly blurred. And thanks to modern technology, the ability of crime groups to operate internationally has never been greater. No single state can tackle these threats in isolation. International security and domestic security are two sides of the same coin. So that is why Interpol remains integral to public safety in every one of our countries. That is why, under this government, Britain will always be an active partner and committed friend as we seek to make the world safer to all, and we thank all of you for being part of these efforts this week. And we are fortunate to be led in our efforts in the UK by a Prime Minister who has spent many years leading national and international work to enforce the law, prosecute criminals, and keep our communities safe. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, to open up this Assembly today. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. And it's great to welcome all of you to Glasgow, a fantastic city. And it was right here in this conference centre, exactly 3 years ago, that over 190 countries came together at COP26 to agree the Glasgow Climate Pact. That was the first global commitment to phase down the use of coal, and a vital step in the fight against climate change, a challenge that no country can meet on its own. So it's fantastic that once again today, we have over 190 countries here working together to meet another global challenge, the threat of serious organised crime. And it's particularly fitting to be here in Glasgow, a place that was once home to what many consider to be the first professional city police force, and a place that is today home to our state-of-the-art Scottish crime campus just down the road in Garcosh. 18 different organisations working together under one roof, cooperating for a common cause. Precisely the kind of cooperation that is so essential to the missions of my government. The foundation we rest everything upon: greater security for our people. Security rooted in our values, in respect for human rights, and upholding the rule of law. Now, I was a prosecutor myself. I served as the Director of Public Prosecutions in England and Wales. Not here in Scotland. We're a complicated set of arrangements across these countries. But what we know from being a country of 4 nations, what I know from having served in that role, having seen the complexity of operations that fight organised crime firsthand, is that crime is global, criminals do not respect borders, and so I want to start today by thanking you, all of you here in this conference centre, and the thousands that you represent, those who serve in police, in intelligence and security services right across the world. Because too often, what you do goes unrecognised, some of it necessarily unknown. But just look at some of the operations that we can talk about. They tell the story. The UK working with the US and Ecuador to seize 19 tons of cocaine. The global identification of over 40,000 victims of child sexual abuse online, and more than 70 countries working together to save them. 60 countries working together to tackle online scams, resulting in almost 4,000 arrests and more than $250 million of assets seized. And of course, the operation which infiltrated and seized the online platform used by Lockbit, the world's most harmful cybercrime group. I know the hard work that goes into this. I know how many things have to come together almost instantly. And most importantly, I know what would happen without you. The extra lives destroyed by drugs and violence, the unspeakable horrors of child sexual abuse, gangs forcing the vulnerable into modern slavery or prostitution, people having their lives savings stolen through online fraud. It's your work, your service, that protects people from those threats. And because so much of your work is done in private, I'm grateful for this opportunity in public to say a huge and heartfelt thank you. Now, of course, Interpol is absolutely central to these efforts. As I say, I've seen the importance of global cooperation firsthand. I sent British prosecutors to Pakistan so we could work together on counter-terrorism. In West Africa, to disrupt the flow of drugs from South America to Europe and ultimately to the UK. So I understand the power of what Interpol does and why the UK makes great use of those resources, handling thousands of inquiries every week from around the world, from intelligence sharing to managing direct threats to life. So I'm pleased to say today that the UK is increasing its funding for Interpol projects, investing £6 million this financial year. This includes support for improved data sharing and faster communications capabilities, the first ever global fraud threat assessment, and new regional networks, from strengthening cooperation across the Pacific to tackling drug and gun smuggling networks in the Caribbean. Because together, we want to send a clear message to the world's most hardened criminals. There is no safe haven. There is no place that you can hide from justice. Together, we've got the whole world covered. And together, we will defeat you. And look, there is a particular group of organised criminals that urgently need to hear this message. The vile people smugglers, who think that human life can be trafficked, that borders can be ignored, and that desperation, misery, and hope, they prey on that too, are all emotions that are ripe for exploitation. Make no mistake, people smuggling needs a global response, and on a scale way beyond where we are now. We need to unlock the power of that cooperation across borders, agencies, continents even. And look, I know many people in this room are already working hard on this. So I accept that my argument here is a political one, first and foremost. But I'm afraid we're still at a stage where the world needs to wake up to the severity of this challenge. It goes back to security. I was elected to deliver security for the British people. And strong borders are a part of that. Of course they are. But I say it again, security doesn't stop at our borders. And illegal migration is, without question, a massive driver of global insecurity. There is nothing progressive about turning a blind eye as men, women, and children die in the Channel. And you don't advance the cause of global justice or compassion for those individuals to pretend that there is. This is a vile trade that must be stamped out wherever it thrives. Now, it exploits the cracks between our institutions. It pits nations against each other, profits from our inability at a political level to come together. That's part of the business model. So I will work with anyone serious who can offer solutions on this. Anyone. Because without coordinated global action, it will not go away. And unless we bring all the powers we have to bear on this, in much the same way as we do for terrorism, then we will struggle to bring these criminals to justice. And that, in a sense, is my message here today. People smuggling should be viewed as a global security threat similar to terrorism. We've got to combine resources, share intelligence and tactics, and tackle the problem upstream, working together to shut down the smuggling routes. Now, we do that with terrorism. When I was the Director of Public Prosecutions, it was my personal mission to smash the terrorist gangs. And we worked across borders to ensure the safety of citizens across Europe and across the world. Now, as the UK's Prime Minister, it is my personal mission to smash the people smuggling gangs. And look, that starts here in the UK. This Labour government is resetting the UK's whole approach to this challenge. No more gimmicks, no more gesture politics, no more irresponsible, undeliverable promises that almost by design seek conflict with other countries. We've turned the page on all of that because such promises are not worth the paper that they're written on. All they do is waste taxpayer money, destroy people's trust in politics as a force for good. Instead, we are approaching this issue with humanity and with profound respect for international law. We will never withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Indeed, we're proud of the role the UK played in creating that convention. Respecting international treaties also makes international cooperation easier because it shows that the UK is a reliable partner. So our approach is different. As I say, we're going to treat people smugglers like terrorists. So we're taking our approach to counter-terrorism, which we know works, and applying it to the gangs with our new Border Security Command. We're ending the fragmentation between policing, border force, and our intelligence agencies, recruiting hundreds of specialist investigators, the best of the best, from our National Crime Agency, Border Force, Immigration Enforcement, and the CPS and our intelligence agencies, all working together. We're making border protection an elite border force. And not just within our country. We're also working together with international partners, sharing intelligence and tactics. Earlier this year, I visited the headquarters of our National Crime Agency. I saw firsthand the ways we're already collaborating and what it takes to intercept, to disrupt, and destroy these networks. There are so many tools at our disposal. We can seize their phones at the border, identifying and tracing smugglers, wiring payments. We've already trained sniffer dogs to detect the smell of dinghy rubber, and working with Bulgaria, stopped more than 100 small boats upstream long before they made it to the channel. And as we understand how these gangs work, we can invest in new capabilities and enhance powers to smash them. So we're giving our new Border Security Command an additional £75 million of new funding on top of the £75 million we've already committed. This will support a new organised immigration crime intelligence unit, hundreds of new investigators and intelligence officers, backed by state-of-the-art technology. We're also investing a further £58 million in our National Crime Agency, including strengthening its data analysis and intelligence capabilities. And we'll also legislate to give those fighting these gangs enhanced powers too. Again, look what we've done with counter-terrorism. We have the powers to trace suspects' movements using information from the intelligence services. We can shut down their bank accounts, cut off their internet access, and arrest them for making preparations to act before an attack has taken place. We don't wait for them to act. We stop them before they act. And we need to stop people smuggling gangs before they act too. Now, as with any crime, smuggling does not operate in an institutional vacuum. So we also need to rebuild our broken asylum system, process claims swiftly and humanely. That will make law enforcement's job much easier. So we're putting hundreds of additional people into asylum casework. Overall returns since this government came to office are now 9,400. That's up almost 6,000 since the end of August. Enforced returns are up almost a fifth on the same period last year. And returns of foreign national offenders are up 14%. But look, the only way to defeat this vile trade and save lives is to stop people being smuggled here in the first place. And that means doing everything possible to deepen our cross-border cooperation. So international agreements matter. We have to use every tool that we have, operational, diplomatic, political, to join up our response. President Macron and I have already agreed to increase intelligence sharing and do more to dismantle smuggling routes further upstream. This is also a priority for the bilateral cooperation treaty we are working on with Germany. We're also working with Italy to dismantle the supply chains of maritime equipment, combat illicit financial flows, and strengthen our investigation capabilities and our data sharing. And as part of the UK's wider reset with the European Union, we are seeking a new security pact, including restoring access to real-time intelligence sharing networks. And at the European political community this Thursday in Hungary, I'll be putting this issue at the top of the international agenda once again. But we need your help also. This is the General Assembly of the world's security experts. It's your cooperation across borders that save lives time and again. It's your collective efforts that bring organised criminals to justice wherever they seek to hide. And it's your leadership today that can help make a decisive breakthrough against this vile trade in human life. Because if together we can win this war against the people smugglers, then this gathering will have achieved a victory for humanity, every bit as significant as the Glasgow Climate Pact. Because you will have helped to smash the gangs, secure our borders, and save countless lives. And it's with that hope and in that spirit that I declare the 92nd General Assembly open. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, KCB MP, and also to the Secretary of State for the Home Department, the Right Honourable Yvette Cooper MP. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the opening ceremony. Please rise for the departure of our dignitaries.